Folyd said in the hood, they choked him. It was a knee choke. And so let's remember the facts here. This murder case is not hard. Just look at the torture video of George Floyd. When anybody asks you, remind them, this murder case is not hard. Just look at the torture video of George Floyd, the most viewed murder of a police on a citizen in the history of the world. It has been viewed just in over 50 million times on YouTube and probably as many more times on cable television. Everybody has saw this video. What we want to know is, will we see justice? The whole world is watching. The whole world is watching. So you're going to hear from Attorney Tony Romanucci, Attorney Justin Miller, and Attorney Jeff Storms. And then you're going to hear from the family of George Floyd. And then after that, you're going to hear from our civil rights leader, America's civil rights leader, Al Sharpton. We're trying to time it where we can get it right at 8 minutes and 8:46. And we're going to try to keep time. And then Reverend Al, after he gives us our call to action, we're going to take a knee for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And hopefully everybody within the sound of his voice will join us in taking that knee to understand what George Floyd went through the last minutes and seconds of his life. Without further ado, Attorney Tony Romanucci, a great, great lawyer from Chicago, Illinois, my brother in this struggle.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Antonio Romanucci. Yesterday I said we were on day 306 of George Floyd being killed. Today is day 307, but it's the first day of justice for the criminal case. As my brother Ben Crump said, this is a case of common sense. This is not a case about George Floyd's character. This is not a case about George Floyd's past. This is the case about what happened on May 25th of 2020. And I will tell you this, remember, mechanical asphyxiation by homicide. And that was determined by the 2 independent medical examiners that we brought to this town to examine George days after he was killed. And why we did that? Because we had to challenge and attack the narrative that Hennepin County had put out that George had died of a fentanyl overdose. Immediately you could see that their message was for George Floyd when it should have been about Derek Chauvin. And we are here to be the messenger for the goodness of George Floyd and what Derek Chauvin did on George Floyd that day. We're here because civil justice. We're there towards civil justice. Today, criminal justice. But I will tell you that we have to message something even more important. We have to message change of laws. The Minnesota General Assembly will have an opportunity to change one of the most important laws that we've ever had in this state. And that's changing the arbitration reform bill. We want it named the George Floyd Reform Arbitration Bill. We want it so that if a chief of police fires a police officer because they lied, because they used unreasonable use of force, because they were egregious conduct, we want that termination by the chief of police to stand. We don't want it overturned by an arbitrator. We want the chief of police, just like Chief Arredondo did in this case. He fired those police officers because they failed to intervene, because they didn't try and save George's life when he said, "I can't breathe," just like we're all doing right now. We're breathing. We don't have to think about it. George was begging to breathe. That is deserving of termination. It's not deserving of an arbitrator to review that termination and overturn it. But we're here in George's spirit because every single day since his death, George has sent a message. And he's going to send a message in perpetuity. We're going to make sure that never, ever needless death happens again, where an unrestrained, nonviolent man, a black man, killed at the hands of white police officers never happens again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Attorney Romanucci. And hailing from Atlanta, Georgia, a person who has been instrumental in helping us achieve that historic civil justice for the family of George Floyd, especially the child of George Floyd, my brother, Attorney Justin Miller, who is partners with Attorney Chris Stewart.
Good morning. My name is Attorney Justin Miller. On behalf of my law partner, Chris Stewart, who couldn't be here with you today, I bring you greetings. This today is not the trial of George Floyd. And I've heard people say that. This is the George Floyd trial. This is the George Floyd trial. George Floyd is not on trial. This is the trial of Derek Chauvin, and it should be printed and spoken about that way every single time we talk about it. This trial is about America being America for all Americans. Not just some of us, all Americans. And it can be that way, and it should be that way. We have to take time now to think about what we want for our children and for our families. This family behind me is suffering.